Hey guys, today I'm going to do a short video on how to change the engine oil, in this case on a 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee wk2. This one has the 5.7 Hemi engine. You can also use this guide for any of the other versions, it's just slightly different. Okay, so the first thing we need is obviously the engine oil. Now for this particular vehicle, the only engine oil I would recommend to use in it would be the 5 to 11 full synthetic engine oil. If you're in Australia, the most common one to get would be the Penrite Enviro full synthetic 520. Okay, the reason for that is these vehicles run an MDS system. What that basically means is when you're cruising, basically turns off 4 cylinders of the vehicle and runs on 4 cylinders. In order to do that, the system uses the oil, so it senses the viscosity of the oil, and based on that it knows when it turns itself off. Now if you're using thick engine oil, the system doesn't work properly, and there's been reports that some people have a lot of problems with that system. It's probably because of the engine oil you're using. So it's really important, guys, that you use the 520 engine oil. That's only for the Hemi engines. Okay, the diesel and the 3.7 3.6, sorry, they use a different engine oil altogether. Okay, and for the oil filter, particularly on the Hemi engines, you should be looking for the Z516 filter. So that's basically, this is for a 5.7 Hemi, but I believe it's the same one for the 6.4 as well. Okay, in my case I'm using Ryco filter because that's what's available to me at the moment. If you can use the OEM MOPA filter, even better, but if it's not available, I mean, this one's fine. I've been using it for a while. I haven't had any issues with it at all. Okay, so the basic tools you're going to need to get the job done, all you need is a simple ratchet, and in this case it will be a 13mm socket, and the best tool of all would be this one here. Now you could probably look for it on eBay or your local parts store. It's basically to take the oil filter off. It makes the job 10 times easier if you got one of these tools. So basically it's one of those you just put on your ratchet like so, and as you move your ratchet it actually closes and tightens that oil filter, so it gets it off real easy. It's probably the easiest way to get it off with one of these. You'll save yourself heaps of time with that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the oil cap. Now you can see on the oil cap it even says the type of oil to use, which is a 5W20. Now I must stress, guys, make sure you use 5W20. Don't be tempted to put in 5W30 in it, because I know you can get 5W30 a lot easier and a lot cheaper than this one, but it will mess things up. So just make sure, spend the extra money, get the right oil in it, and you shouldn't have any issues with it. Okay, so we're going to remove this one. Okay, so remove that. Now I like to put a funnel in there, just when I go and pour the new oil in it, it makes it a lot easier. Also the other thing is I remove the cap so the oil drains a lot quicker and it flows a lot smoother when it drains out. Okay, so now we're going to go underneath the car and we're going to locate the engine oil filter and the engine oil plug so we can take them off. Okay, so if we come underneath the car, just come here, you will see this here. Now normally there will be something there. In my case it's missing, so I don't have to worry about it, but if you go one day you just gotta remove this one here and then you'll have access to the oil filter and the plug. Okay, so as you can see, that's the plug right there, so you can't miss it. It's really easy to get to, and as you can see there's your oil filter right there. So they're both really easy to get to. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to undo the plug. So we put our socket on the plug at the moment. So just sit it on it. Now it's probably going to be easier if you get a longer one, or if you got an extension, because it can be very hard to take off. In this case, yeah, it's come off. So it's already been loosened with the ratchet, and all you got to do now is twist it with your fingers. It's quite easy to move it once it's been loosened up. Okay, so what we want to do now is get the oil pan underneath it. Okay, so while we're here, we're going to loosen up the oil filter as well. Again, as you can see, I put the tool over the oil filter now, and all I got to do is turn the ratchet and see how the oil filter is turning now. So that's pretty much loosened up now. I'll be able to twist it off with my hand now. Okay, so now we're going to remove the plug and let the oil fall into the pan. So just going to twist that off with our hands and then remove it quickly. Probably going to get a bit of oil on your hand, but that's alright. Just twist that off. There you go, that's the oil flowing out. See how it's flowing out real quick because I opened up the oil cup at the top of the engine. Okay, so at the same time we're going to remove the oil filter. Now this one's going to get a little bit more messier. So just let it drip like that for a while. And once it starts dripping a bit, then just finish removing it. Okay, so now that they stopped dripping a little bit, I can just finish removing the filter now. Just basically twist it off. Just don't drop it. Okay, just keep twisting it until it comes off. Yep, should come off any minute. There you go. So, yep, just let it drip into the pan. Put it on here. Okay, so now that it's just about finished dripping, we're just going to put the oil plug back in. So just hand tighten it first, and then we'll use a ratchet and give it a final tightening on that one. Okay, yep, so that's on tight. Just clean it up a little bit around the area, clean a bit of the oil up. Okay, so that one's on. What we're going to do now is put the new oil filter on. Okay, so before we put our filter on, we're just going to take out the new one. Just remove that plastic film around it. Now you see this plastic seal around it. What we want to do is we want to lubricate that before we put it on. So all we got to do that is we open up our oil. Just basically dip your finger in there. So you basically just dip your finger in oil and just run it on the seal. And then your seal has just been lubricated and it's ready to come on now. Okay, so now that you've finished tightening the oil plug with the ratchet, so it's nice and tight now, you're going to grab your oil filter, and this one is, you're just going to use your hand to tighten it. So first of all, just put it back on the spot. Just feel your way around there until you feel that it's spinning on. Yep. So as you can see, that's on there now. I'm just spinning it with my hand now. Just keep spinning it until it just tightens up. So now it's gone to the end. So we just want to use our hands and give it a final tightening on that one. And remember, just use your hands to tighten this one. There's no special tools you need to tighten this one up. Just tighten it as hard as you can with your hands. That's all you're gonna need to do on this one. And there's that one. It's really nice and tight now. Okay, so now that they're both on there nice and tight, we're gonna use a bit of degreaser and just clean up a little bit of all the stuff we spilled out there. So we're just gonna spray it a little bit. Yep, now just clean it up a little bit. Okay, so now that the hard part is over, all we gotta do now is just fill the car back up with oil. Now you probably noticed that I had 2 bottles of oil before, and that's because this vehicle takes almost 7 liters of oil. Now you're probably gonna get these ones only in the 5-liter range. You can get bigger ones, but it doesn't really work out any cheaper. So the most economical way to do it is to get 2 5-liter ones and just keep a bit extra for the next time you do it. Okay, so what we'll do first is we'll pour one of the bottles in there first. And you want to grab the bottle by the side so it just pours nice and smooth. Okay, so you just pour the whole thing in there, nice and slow. Normally when I'm doing this, I go checking the level as I pour it in there. But since I know this car takes about 7 liters, I'm just going to pour the whole 5 liters in there first. And we'll go testing it as we go once we start pouring the other bottle in there. Okay. So that's about it for this one. Okay, so I'm pouring the second bottle in there now. I'm just going to start slowly pouring that one in there as well. I'm going to pour about 1 liter of this one, and then I'm going to check the dipstick to see where it's at. Okay, so just going to pour a little bit. Now we're going to move to the dipstick. We just want to check where it's at the moment. Okay, so when we pull out the dipstick, what we want to do is just want to grab it with a tissue and just clean it first. Just make sure it's nice and clean. Put it back in, and then that will give us a more accurate reading. So we'll put it in for a second, then we'll pull it back out. Now it should be able to give us a reading. As you can see, that still needs a little bit more, so we're just going to wipe it again. Just going to put that to the side. Okay, so we've just poured a bit more oil in there, so we're going to check it now. It's probably going to notice it's a little bit overfilled now. That's okay, so we want to have it a little bit overfilled, because when you turn the engine on, the oil filter has to fill up with oil as well, so that's going to suck up a little bit of oil as well. So what we want to do now is just put that back in there. Just going to go back there and close that cap, and then we're going to run the engine for about 5 seconds. Okay, so now that we've run the car for 5 seconds, we noticed that the oil did go down, so we put a little bit more back into it. So we're just doing the final checks. That's pretty much on the full line now. When I started the vehicle, it went down to about there. So now I just pour a bit of more oil in there and got it right up to the line. Can't really see it on the video, but it's right on the line. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do. Just keep an eye on it. I mean, check it the next day. after you've been driving it for a while, just to make sure the oil level is still correct. If you need to add a little bit more, then just add a little bit more. If it's a little bit overfilled, there's no big issue, just don't overfill it a substantial amount. Okay, so now we're just going to pour the old oil back into the empty bottle. So just grab that, and once you pour it all in, you can take it to your local depot. They'll take it. You don't want to be pouring this stuff down the drain or checking it in the bin. Just make sure you dispose of it properly every time you do it. Okay. Now once you fill up one of these bottles, if the second one isn't empty, just grab an old Coke bottle or any other bottle you got laying around that you can pour the oil into, and then you just be able to take it down to your local depot. Okay guys, so the last thing we want to do is, if you're like me and you do all these services yourself, you want to be pretty much keeping a record of everything you're doing. So I usually just go to the service book and I just put the oil sticker on there, just on the date that I did it, and type of oil I used, and how many Ks was on the vehicle when I did it. It's just a good way to keep a record for yourself of everything you're doing to the cars, so you can see it's kind of like a dealer stamp, I guess. Yeah, so that's pretty much it today, guys. So as you can see, it's a very easy service to do. Later in the weeks, I'm also going to be doing some more major servicing, like changing the radiator fluid, and also I'm going to be changing the both of the diffs fluid and the transmission fluid. So I'm going to try and get some videos done on the procedures to get those jobs done. Also changing the spark plugs. Yeah, so I'll try and get a video of everything I do to the vehicle. So hopefully it helps someone out there when they, if you want to have a crack at it yourself, and you can see it's really not that hard to do once you follow it step by step. Okay guys, so thanks for watching my video, and yeah, just hit subscribe. Keep an eye on my videos. I'll be posting up more videos on how to do stuff to the vehicle as we go. Thanks for watching.